One of the things I'm most excited about with AI is that we see all of these fantastic ways that we can embed learning into the workflow itself with AI. This is Leading at the Frontier, a series of discussions around how AI is changing the nature of work and how you can lead your organization with confidence. I'm Katy George, Corporate Vice President of Workforce Transformation.
And I'm Jeana Jorgensen, Corporate Vice President of Global Skilling.
All right, welcome to episode 3, AI Skilling at Scale, your expertise. What Microsoft does internally and how we're helping our customers build AI fluency.
Great.
So my first question to you, Jeana, what does AI fluency mean?
A couple of things. AI fluency in and of itself, people tend to refer to it as, how do I use AI, right? Am I comfortable using the tools, building agents and workflows, and managing those agents and workflows? And it's really about the AI tooling itself. But when I think about skilling, and I think about the entire employee, I think about professional development, I think about leadership development, I think about product skilling, I think about AI skilling, I think about the uniquely human skills they need to thrive in the era of AI. And so it's not just about AI fluency anymore, right? That is table stakes. Every employee is expected to understand at some point in the near future, we hope, how to use the tools. But the differentiator for each and every employee is their human skills, things like courage. We talked about that in an earlier episode. Courage, curiosity, collaboration. And then also the professional development, situational leadership, negotiation, all of the things that are important to being a well-rounded employee. So while AI fluency is critically important, you have to also include all the human-based skills and the professional development skills that people crave and need in order to grow professionally.
And you might argue actually need even earlier in their careers thanks to AI.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. All right, why isn't traditional training enough for AI adoption?
We're getting teams of people together who are then undergoing a learning experience together, but then it's immersive and really in the flow of work. So it's immediately applied to their work. So I think what we're seeing is really working is, first of all, team-based versus individual, practitioner-led. So it's power user talking to others in the same role. Train the trainer in terms of scaling learning programs across the organization. So, first participating in an experience, then leading it for your own team, and then teaching somebody else. And of course, as we all know, adult learners learn by teaching. And so that has proven to be a super exciting scale-up technique, but one that also creates a community of practice of people who are really evangelists and who were really expert. And then this notion of being in the flow of work, immediately, just-in-time learning, immediately applying it to your actual work, I think is so important. And one of the things I'm most excited about with AI is that we see all of these fantastic ways that we can embed learning into the workflow itself with AI. So you're doing a task and then you're learning about how to do the task even better. I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, and this question is so interesting because I talk about training, and I always think of training as more of a passive, I'm watching and I'm learning something as I'm watching somebody present about it or watching somebody talk about it. And when I think about really learning and skilling, it's about applying what you have learned, right? It's about applying the things that somebody told you or instructed you. It's about hands-on experiential learning in the flow of work and using the tools. Oftentimes you don't even realize you're learning because you're doing on-the-job training with some new technology or new tools. So I think that's really important to think beyond just traditional training and really think about experiential learning and hands-on training.
Exactly right.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what Microsoft's doing internally to build at scale.
My goodness, there's so many amazing and really impressive things happening at Microsoft to build scale. From a skilling specific standpoint, we're doing a number of things. We have created a lot of AI tooling and AI learning experiences to help people learn about AI using AI. So again, conversational skilling agents that I can have a conversation with, and it can coach me, it can grade me based on how well I'm articulating my understanding of this topic. Wonderful, wonderful things around localization and summarization and getting our apps that we built in a web-based app, like conversational app, into more of a chat-based app where it can summarize and get me the localization I need and not be necessarily conversational, but get me the information I need quickly based on the same corpus of intelligence and content. I will also say one of the things that I've seen Microsoft do that I love is we have moved away from learning and skilling as a requirement to learning and skilling is just it's a core part of our jobs and a core part of our employment, responsibility. And I love that it's met with recognition and rewards now, that as opposed to the traditional model of you must learn this thing and you are required to complete X, Y, and Z. And so a combination of these agentic learning experiences with making it fun and interesting and rewarding has been really, really, we've seen massive changes in the way that people learn through that.
That's great.
Yeah. What are you learning about Microsoft and how we measure impact?
Well, it's interesting. A lot of the easiest impact measurement, and it's not always easy, is measuring adoption, right? How many people are using different tools, and we can look at how often they use it. And that used to be a really key focus, right?
Yeah.
Kind of at the beginning stage of maturity, that's a big focus. But pretty quickly, we're moving on to how are people now changing their behaviors and the performance of what they're doing, rather than just looking at adoption rates, which is really kind of an activity metric, if you will. One of the correlations we've seen is that the sales reps who are using our AI tools the most also have the highest revenue per person. Also have the highest Thrive scores, which is our employee engagement survey that measures people's happiness and satisfaction. And we're starting to create more mapping of, so in some of the work we're doing, we're looking at adoption, but then we're looking specifically at the behavior changes we were trying to get. Are people spending more time with customers? Are people spending more time, this is a sales example, are they spending more time demoing the newest product technologies in AI, which is what we wanted them to do and to be comfortable with? And then how is that translating to win rates? And how is that then translating to revenue? So we are creating that mapping of what we can see right now, which is adoption, to the behaviors we're looking for, and then eventually the business outcome. And we're trying to apply that same methodology more and more.
It was an assumption before, like we were going to assume that people are going to be more productive and they're going to be higher performing. But the data has demonstrated very clearly that they're higher performant, they have higher Thrive scores, it's better impact for the overall business, the more our employees are using the technology. It's been fascinating.
One of my favorite conversations I had recently was actually with a bunch of our sales reps over in Europe. I happened to be there. And they talked about how originally there was a lot of focus. Everybody was kind of tracking their own usage, is it good enough, et cetera, because there's that focus. And they said, but now everybody knows that if you're going to be a high-performing rep, you actually have to be using the tools. So now we just focus on performance, which I think is fantastic, because it's just a sign of the maturity that everyone understands that to achieve the performance expectation and to be an excellent high performer, you of course have to lean into the tool usage.
What are the 3 things people should do next?
Well, I think a few things. One is really understand, as we've been talking about, that AI adoption is really not just about skill. It's really about mindset. It's about permission to experiment. It's about safety and lack of fear. And so really address that kind of cultural element in your organization. The second is really give employees permission to experiment, and so that they actually can play around and see how exciting the AI can be for them. Every time we run people through some of the programs that we're doing, they come away just so excited and say, we never want to work the old way again. And then finally, create a really vibrant environment of sharing examples and best practices, celebrating wins, so that you create momentum and everybody wants to be part of the really exciting stories that they're hearing. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next episode.